What's up? It's Stefs from Stefs Rock Show. We've got Danny that was on this awesome show, The Floor, and he's an amazing musician. Thanks for coming by.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
I love your room. That is so neat.
Yeah, it's fun. Like probably 90% of everything I have hanging up in here too is like autographed by the artists and everything. So
Wow. You've
yeah,
met a lot of rock stars.
I have probably not as many as you, but a good amount.
Well, I was working though a lot of times. Like, I mean, you've just gone to support too and met a lot of them. So that's really neat.
Yeah, I've definitely been very lucky to be exposed to all those people.
What's your favorite meeting, a musician story of yours or that, your favorite meeting one of your idols?
Okay, so the number one thing that comes to mind is probably Sebastian Bach. When I was
Yeah.
19 years old, he was playing at a Holy Diver, a venue that used to operate here in Sacramento. And when I was hanging out at his merch table after the show, his wife actually approached me and said, "Hey, Sebastian wants you on the bus." Ended up hooking me
Ooh.
up with a VIP meet and greet. And
He
he
didn't
like
hit on you or want you on your knees? Like, he just wanted to hang out and
yeah, he
talk?
just wanted to hang out.
There
So
wasn't a threesome with him and his wife?
it was not, no. But it
Oh,
was like a matter of
okay.
he was just blown away. This 19-year-old kid was front row and center at his concert, and he ended up guest listing me for San Francisco the next night. So I had a
That
party with
is
Sebastian
really
Bach 2
neat.
nights in a row.
Dang. And you guys both have really cool long hair that's, like, healthy. Maybe that's what he saw.
I know, yeah. I think we just totally vibed with it. It was great.
Yeah, that is you know what I like hearing too when somebody's just nice to you and they don't have a gain even, they're just like, "Oh, I wanna help my fan," or "I'm respectful," and they wanna pay it forward like that. I wanna be a bigger fan of that artist when I hear those stories.
Exactly. And I said another one probably that comes to mind would be Alice Cooper. I actually got to meet him at the NAMM show in 2018. I was maybe like 20th in line for his meet and greet, something like that. 2 hours later, I get to the front of the line. It's like, why is this thing taking so long? He's spending like 4 or 5 minutes carrying a conversation with everybody who walks up to him. So, yeah,
Wow.
Alice
That's
Cooper,
really
probably one of the
cool.
most genuine, friendly people I've ever met in my life.
I've never got to interview him, but I've sent a request a couple months ago to virtually have him by, but I hear really good things about Alice Cooper, that he's really down to earth and nice. The only thing I did is I dated a guy that was in between dating his daughter and me, and so his daughter's not a fan of me, but that was, like, 15 years ago, so I'm pretty sure we would be good now. So okay, I want to go back to music eventually because you've got projects and stuff going on, but I wanted to hear about The Floor, the reality show. I've been watching more clips of it last night, me and my girlfriend did. Tell me about or explain The Floor to people and viewers that haven't watched it.
Okay, so the basic concept is there are 100 people all standing on like this giant light up grid. And everybody has their own piece of territory, as it were. So if you get randomly selected to challenge one of your neighbors, you challenge them in their area of expertise. For example, mine was Halloween movies. Let's say the people next to me, there was one person who had beans next to me, and one who was musical instrument sounds, one who was recess equipment. If you get randomly selected, you would have to challenge the person next to you. And the ultimate goal is to be the last person standing by winning trivia duels against the other contestants.
So knowing random facts could help, and they know your strong suits prior to going on the floor.
Exactly. So all 100 people have their own areas of expertise that they can be challenged in.
Where was it filmed? How did they reach out to you? How did this even happen?
So one of the casting producers is actually a mutual friend of my band's producer. So
Oh,
I've
okay.
known her for a few years now. She just randomly called me up one day and said, "Hey, do you have a valid passport and do you want to be on a game show?" And like, of course, to both of those things, because it actually films in Dublin, Ireland. Believe it or not.
That's the coolest part,
Yeah,
that
that
you
was
got to
the
go to
coolest part.
Ireland. I don't know, like, I think that's so neat.
And on top of that, it's like get to meet Rob Lowe, one of my favorite
Yeah,
actors of
he's
all
hot.
time.
I love Wayne's World. I'm, like, a huge Wayne's World fan, so Rob Lowe, even though he's, like, an asshole producer, he's such a good actor. Did you get to talk to Rob? Like
So what you saw on screen with me on the show, that was the extent of my conversation with Rob Lowe.
okay,
But either
that
way, it was
stinks.
still
He's
cool
probably
being
busy.
able. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was running that show like clockwork, like super, super, super professional, just knows the grindstone kind of guy.
Yeah. So, okay, you get to fly into Dublin, Ireland. Did you guys have any time to play outside of filming?
So here's the fun part with that. The day we got there was our only free time, really.
Oh,
It's like we got to
wow.
go out at night. We had the option of doing that, but I landed in Dublin about 10 o'clock a.m. local time. Dropped my stuff at the hotel. A couple of the other contestants just like, oh, I'm gonna go study. I'm gonna go do some homework. I got some work meeting. Just screw that. I got like 8 hours to explore Dublin. I'm going out to do it. So I
So
literally just
you ran
walked
out, did
around
you go to
Temple
the
Bar.
bars? You did it up?
I did everything. Like I walked from the hotel, saw St. Patrick's Cathedral, Christ Church Cathedral, toured Jameson. Touring Jameson was the first thing I did, so I was a little bit buzzed the entire time I was doing everything else.
That's
Uh,
tight.
but yeah,
I
so
the time change is hard though. Was that rough on you?
not really because personal habit, I'm usually up at 3:30 in the morning, California time, doing workouts. So given
You've
that,
been dedicated, dude. Like, you're doing great too. You're just on it.
I appreciate that.
It's hard for me to get off the couch. Like, walking my dog is the extent nowadays of my workout, but it is inspiring. Like, sometimes I think about it and I'm like, "Gosh, I really wanna go to the gym a lot and get more in shape." And then I go to the fridge and, like, eat something and sit back down. But I love that you're
It's
on
a
it.
hustle.
You're in the zone.
I appreciate that. Yeah, just like being up 4 hours earlier than the average person definitely helped with the whole time change in Dublin. Then I was slamming energy drinks the entire time I was there, so I was in good shape.
Did you have to pee when you were on the floor? What
That's
happened?
a
Did you have
question
to
I get a
pee?
lot because every
Yeah.
time I break up, I was probably pounding 8 or 9 energy drinks a day on the set
That's
because we were
how you
talking.
don't have a heart attack. That's crazy.
I'm just a caffeine addict. I'm used to it.
Yeah.
But we're talking 15-hour filming days. We'd film anywhere from 2 to 3 episodes a day, doing hair, makeup, transporting ourselves from the hotel. We'd all get loaded on buses at 6 a.m. So, yeah, in between episodes, we would take about 2.5 hours film an episode. I would be sprinting to the bathroom before lunch.
Yeah. Could anyone raise their hand and be like, "I have to go now"?
They could. It didn't happen, but it was an option that people had.
Okay, okay. You weren't, like, held hostage on the floor, but I would just think, I mean, I guess even when people do 3-hour podcasts, you kinda gotta go before, like, try to wait and go after.
Exactly. And every once in a while, there would be short breaks. Like, okay, they'd film for an hour and a half. Okay, now go outside, use the porta potties. But
Do you know the winner or, like, stay in contact at all with the winner of your episode?
of my episode, I mean, honestly, I stay in contact with just about everybody. Like, there is a WhatsApp group chat that probably has about 85 or 90 of us in it that's still incredibly active. It's like I got notifications an hour ago from it for something that
That's
filmed
really
back in
neat.
August.
I saw you guys did, like, a podcast together too and caught up, so I bet how long were you there filming?
So the entire filming process was 5 days. We flew in on like a Saturday, and then the winners of the final episode ended up flying out the next Saturday. So it was a full week.
Are any of the contestants live in Ireland and actually Irish?
So I know there are at least a couple people with the show who were born in America and moved to Ireland.
Okay. So
So, for
they're still,
example,
like,
Virginia,
American born.
the lady who went on an absolute rampage and ended up creating the biggest piece of territory, actually lives in Ireland.
Oh, wow. That's wild. So she didn't have to travel far. I
Yeah,
don't know, maybe she did well because she's on, Ireland time. She's, like, used to, I don't know, where she's at. She
so yeah,
felt
she
great.
had a
She
bit
didn't
of
have
an
to travel.
advantage in that aspect. But
Yeah, yeah. And then, what's your reality show takeaway after being on a reality show? Did you learn anything or think of them differently now or
I definitely have more of an appreciation for just how hard all those people on reality shows work. Like, I think that a lot of people who are on reality shows get a bad rap. It's like, oh, they have everything handed to them on a silver platter. It's like, no, it is hard work. Like, I think that
Yeah.
every single contestant was getting no more than about 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night because of how complex these shooting days were.
Yeah, it's when I've had people from Love is Blind by a couple people, they said, "You're not sleeping." And so when you see them crying a lot or getting emotional, they're running on a couple hours of sleep and getting delirious and overly emotional. And so just so people understand how grueling the process can be and how long the days are. And I know one of the guests I had, Nick from Love is Blind, is trying to kind of just protect more people that are contestants and go on reality shows, but I don't think there's, like, labor laws that are in place for actual, restaurants and structured jobs. I don't think that's really there for reality shows. You're just like, you'll get paid, right? And they'll give you food and hotels, and that's really nice, but they kind of aren't like, "Okay, 8 hours, and then you're gonna get a good 30-minute break, and this is the exact structure." It's usually just I've done a couple
It is
reality
go,
shows.
go, 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 go,
Yeah.
nonstop.
even like Date My Mom was like a 16-hour day, and I had to do like 3 scenes. Like it was barely anything. And I'm just like waiting there. And if I didn't like the sandwich, like that's all that was there at the beach to eat. So you got to eat it. But it's fun, but I think it is harder work than people realize what's going on.
Absolutely. And they imagine being one of the producers. The producers are
Yeah.
up a couple hours before us. They're constantly grinding behind the scenes. I got to give massive props to the producers on the floor. Some of the best, most dedicated, hardworking, and overall just welcoming, friendly people I've ever gotten to work with.
That's awesome too, because you get the good and bad producers sometimes, but they really are creative people that you're right are up at the crack of dawn before everyone. Then they go to sleep last. Then they've got a schedule of how they want to run everything. And as much as things are reality, it helps when a producer knows how to move things along better and kind of help the flow. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. And then I want to know about your music projects, your band or your solo project, or like what's going on with you right now.
Definitely. So yeah, I have been doing a ridiculous amount of recording for about the last 2 months. So I think since about Christmas or so, I haven't had a single day off from doing at least 3 or 4 hour recording sessions.
Dang.
So yeah, I just got the green light from my label to move forward with like a whole bunch more recording. Can't go too in depth with it, but expect to see something pretty exciting this year.
Awesome. So 2025, you could be coming out with some new stuff and what's going
Oh
on.
yeah, it's definitely going to be going down this year.
What's the sound like? Or could you compare it to anything or say like what it would sound like?
Definitely. So it's pretty varied, actually. So I have some more ballady type stuff that I'm writing, but overall, I would say it's moving more towards like a mid 2000s emo kind of direction. So I'm
Okay.
drawing a lot of influence from bands like All Time Low, My Chemical Romance. I got some Papa Roach sort of elements in there as well.
Yeah.
So basically, the
I like
stuff
how
that was
Papa Roach
playing out.
could be
Yeah,
like hard rock and emo. Like they kind of are all over the board and switch it up. Do you ever like the used?
I wish I'd gotten more into the used. I'm starting to get into them, but yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely dig them.
It was a pivotal moment for me. Freshman year of college, they played at my college. So I think it was just like the right time in my life. And I was 18 and I saw Bert and the Used. And then he was dating Kelly Osbourne on the Osbournes. So that
Yeah.
whole combination was like, oh my God, I love the Used. And I think that's like my favorite emo band. Them and My Chemical Romance, because of course they kick ass.
Oh yeah, Mike
Um,
M's always top 10 for me.
Incredible. I think the Deer was running through Aftershock during My Chemical Romance a couple years ago. Like I
Oh,
remember,
seriously?
yeah, that's when the Deer, and I don't know how that Deer got in or jumped in, or maybe he was a metalhead and we didn't know about it.
I never heard about that. There was a
No,
deer running through the
you
MCR
gotta
set?
Google it. I think it was 2022,
Yeah, that sounds about
and
right.
yeah, I was watching My Chemical Romance, and someone's like, "There's a deer," and I'm like, "No way!" So it like took me away from My Chem for a second, and I didn't get close to it, but there's videos. It's just it's scared shitless. Like it by accident got into the festival, obviously, and it wanted to get out as much as people wanted it out, but it was kind of crazy. Like
Oh my
that
gosh. Look, I'm not
that
gonna lie, I was pretty blitzed during that set, so,
yeah, yeah. Oh, wait, so you were there and you didn't know that there was a deer?
no, I was off in the VIP area, so I was kind of,
Oh,
like, away from the main part of the crowd.
see, that's the only time I went as a normie. I know that might sound bad. The only time I went was 2022, wasn't in radio, didn't have a podcast. So I like went, I'll be honest, I hated it. I did not like not being able to get to a nice bathroom right away, having like not as good food options. Like I don't think I could do it again. And I'm too old. I having like a beanbag even or a chair to sit down on sometimes. All these little things that I really appreciate.
I mean, gosh, I'm 25 and I can't go to a festival unless it's VIP. Like, I cannot deal with how hot and dusty Aftershock gets sometimes, but it's a blast. I definitely need to try to go again,
It's
this
like
year.
dusty or muddy. I'm definitely gonna come back for 2025, so I'm really excited, with the podcast. But I remember one time it was so muddy, like, the porta potties, it was just all mud, so you're, like, sliding to try to get in to go to the bathroom at the end of the night, and I was just like, "Yeah, I need a VIP bathroom right now with, like,
Yep, no, air
perfume."
conditioning, yeah,
Yeah,
running
yeah,
water, all those things that
definitely.
we take for granted.
Yeah, and so okay, so you've got projects you're working on in music right now. Is it going to be a band that you're together with, or is it more of a solo project?
So it is going to end up being Grave Mistake, the same project that I have been basically working up since I was 18 years old. So yeah, I've got a lot of super talented people that I'm collaborating with on this. My producer Matt Riley, who has been my constant mentor and creative partner the entire time that I've been doing this project. and then a couple other guitar players based in LA that I've been working with too.
That's awesome. Dude, speaking of LA, it's on fire. Like my 2
It's
apartments burnt
crazy.
down. I just can't. I'm like, I don't believe it almost. Like I need to drive down there to see it. I turn on the news and my heart goes out to everybody out there. That's horrible. It's just the mass amount of fire and that it's not even contained right now blows my mind. I hope the whiskey and the rainbow and vibrant everything stays. What do you think about everything that's going on right now?
I'm just at a loss of I'm completely at a loss for words for it, because this is the kind of thing that there are fires every year in LA, and how the city does not have it under control at this point is just completely unacceptable. They have had years and years and years and years of the same thing happening over and over again, and now it's only being really looked at now that something horribly destructive like this has happened.
Yeah, like catastrophic. And you'd think there needs to be just fire sprinklers everywhere, literally just, heat activated sprinklers or something to save. It's one of the wealthiest areas in the United States and in the world. And so it's going to be billions and billions of dollars, maybe even the most expensive loss we've ever had. So I don't know. I will say, luckily, people do have access to money in a lot of these areas. So they are able to have hotels, and a lot of like Airbnb and Uber have been stepping up and giving, free housing and free rides. And that's great. But the
And
images of
plenty
the
of local
animals.
restaurants been giving out free food, but
Yeah. Yeah. But I saw the bad part too. I saw looting. I can't even believe that's happening. People know that there's mansions that no one's in, and there's guys running in with like sacks and filling them up and running out.
it's just despicable. I'm glad to
There are
see that at
people
least
running out.
LAPD is on top of it, trying to arrest as many as they can, but
Yeah.
just so heartless that people are doing that to people who are literally going through the worst moments of their entire lives right now.
Yes, I do hope they rebuild. I hope LA comes back. I know it'll be different from how it was before, but I hope everyone understands Sacramento is like this little sleeper city that people in LA are even like, "Where's Sacramento?" Like
Yeah.
it's only 6.5, 7 hours north. It's cool, but I think Sac's growing. Our music scene's growing. It's getting more on the map, and a lot of people should move up here. It's more affordable and it's easier to get your foot in the door and play local gigs.
I'd certainly concur with that. And then obviously you got so many other semi-major markets in the area. It's like you got San Francisco 2 hours to the west, you got Reno 2 hours to the east. Sacramento is just so centralized. I'm amazed that it's not already a bigger hub for the entertainment industry, honestly.
Yeah, no, you're right. And then I will say Nashville's on fire. Like, I mean, it's hot, it's sexy. Everyone's moving there. That's like what Austin was, I feel like 10 years ago. Now it's Nashville. Everyone's popping over there. But I don't know. The weather for me in the South and the Midwest is so unpredictable and nuts. And I didn't grow up with tornadoes. So that thing just freaks me out. When one landed where I was in Austin, 7 miles away, I was like, I'm not renewing my
Nope,
lease.
not happening.
Yeah. Because they say we have earthquakes, but I don't feel them. Like when they happen, they're so minor. I haven't had like a huge earthquake that I've felt.
I don't know. I've lived here my entire life, and I've never once actually felt an earthquake in Sacramento. And we've
Yeah.
had some big ones in the Bay Area. So
Yeah, we're in a kind of safe zone. I feel like, well, I say that now, and then I can use this clip later when we're like, we collapsed.
yeah, pull film on that.
Yeah, yeah. So cool. So I'm excited for you and hearing about everything. Is there anything else you want to plug or that you want to get out?
Overall, I would just definitely say make sure that we're being supportive of people who are going through absolute hell right now in LA. Do anything you can to support them. I'm posting plenty of resources on my Instagram stories if you guys want to check any of those out. And yeah, aside from that, go ahead and watch The Floor on Hulu, Disney Plus. Season 3 is going to be premiering after the Super Bowl.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Danny, so much for stopping by Stefs Rock Show. And we got to hang out again for sure and have a drinking night out. And I need to see your band live when you guys are touring and
You
playing.
bet. Absolutely. Hands down.